Hello. Welcome everybody to episode crap. What is this episode?
Five.
Five. Of course it is episode 5 of the Edge Files. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate every single one of you being here. It is episode 5. With us tonight are our lovely, lovely co-hosts. Please welcome Miss Kaylee. Sometimes it is hard to remember which one you like best. Is it Kaylee or Lucy Tightbox?
I usually say if the boobs are out, then I'm Lucy Tightbox, and if not, then I'm Kaylee. I feel like I'm kind of in between right now, so I'll answer to either.
Okay.
Kaylee Loosebox.
Yeah.
I like that. And I am Luigi Tightbox. How's that?
Yes, perfect.
And also with us, you know him, you love him, Trucker Andy. What's happening, Trucker Andy?
Andy Loose Ass. Yes. Hello. What up?
Oh, no.
Don't clip that, folks. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I'm going to try to make this as easy as possible because Kaylee just got off the air, and I know that has just got to be exhausting. So we decided it's going to be my show tonight. And tonight we're going to be talking about the strange case. You know what? The episode is titled The Death of Bob Crane, but it's actually a combination of things that are more than just the death of Bob Crane. It is the death and the life of Bob Crane. Oddly enough, though, his life wasn't really discovered until after his death, but it's a very interesting story. Blah, 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 blah. My mouth is not moving. Okay. So let me ask you folks. I feel like we do need to give like a little bit of an intro to the viewers who don't know this story, but let me ask you too. Andy, what do you know about Bob Crane?
I know
Okey-doke.
that Hogan's Heroes was a fantastic show.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
It's cutting out?
Yeah, I think I'm delayed.
Yeah, of course it is. Hogan's Heroes. Fucking awesome show featuring Richard Dawson of the Running Man fame and Family Feud and the secret tunnels of the show, a show set in Nazi Germany, Gestapo. It's like
where most comedies take place. Yes.
Yeah. It's just like a uniquely amazing show that, as a child of the 80s and the late 70s, the secret passages and all the little hidden treasures of Hogan's Heroes was, like a dream clubhouse to a young child. So I love Schultz and I love Colonel Klink, and that's where it ends. And I love Richard Dawson kissing women on the lips when they didn't ask for it. I love all of that
every time.
All of
what we're going to take away from this episode, folks, is that there are lovable Nazis.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dang it all. I never wanted to admit this.
Andy, and it's really funny, you actually mentioned some great points about the show because Richard Dawson is actually going to play a little bit of a part in this story. An odd connection between Family Feud and sexual deviancy. So be prepared. All right. Now, we did talk a little bit before the show, Kaylee, and you are actually not too familiar with at least the salacious aspects of this story. Is that correct?
That is correct. So I know a little bit. I've heard the things, but I also don't think that I know the whole story. So I am so excited for you to tell us all of the exciting stuff about the life and death of Bob Crane today. I cannot wait.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to it. This is a fascinating story. This is one of those stories that if you just allow yourself to go a little bit down the rabbit holes, it can be overwhelming because there's so much information and it is technically not solved. I think by the end of this, we're all going to kind of decide we think we know what happened to some extent, but there are just still some big, big holes to fill in the story. But what we're going to learn is that Bob Crane, yes, was a very talented actor. He was really, really talented and good, but he had some demons that really overtook his life. And we do know that to some extent it led to his murder, even if we don't know who specifically was the person who murdered him, but it was an element to his murder. And we're going to actually be talking about sex, technology. I guess you can call it mental illness, but it's a combination of the three that led to some very odd sexual fetishes and then a very grotesque murder. So, without giving too much more away, let's get started.
All right. You want me to play the clips?
Please do. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off talking about Bob's murder, and then we're going to just kind of backtrack a little bit about who Bob was and give a little bit of context to who he was publicly and who he was privately. I'm going to probably ask you to interrupt it a little bit because there's a few little factoids here and there that are kind of interesting. But please also stop it if you have any questions. So,
all right, let's
do
get
this,
into
folks.
it.
29th, 1978, Scottsdale, Arizona. The shocking, brutal murder of Hogan's hero star Bob Crane captured America's attention. The prime suspect was Crane's best friend, John Carpenter.
Crane and Carpenter had been friends since the late 60s. At the time, Carpenter sold high-end video equipment for Sony, while Crane was one of TV's most popular stars. Crane and Carpenter's friendship was built on shared interests: women, photography, and sex.
They were out for one thing, and that was how many women can we bed between the two of them. And then it progressed into how many women can we bed that we can take photographs or videotape. And that's when it really kind of led into some problems.
If you can stop it for just a second. That person who was speaking is actually Richard Dawson's son, who was trying to create a documentary about Bob Crane. But I want to clarify a little bit of what he's talking about. Bob Crane had a friend named John Carpenter, not the director of They Live or The Thing.
Not one of the best directors in the world.
Yes. However, far more creepy. And they become friends through an introduction of Richard Dawson, the later host of Family Feud. And it's hard to kind of break down this relationship because of the fact that technology was very different at the time, and we don't really, as you know, people who grew up in the 70s and 80s, don't really have a concept of what this is because we had so much technology at our fingertips. But this is right around the time that there is an introduction to the concept of video, home video, in which there are camcorders, you know, what we call later camcorders, but video recorders that allow you to actually start being able to record things in your own world. That sounds insane. I get it. It's silly, and to break it down that far, but it was a leap of technology at the time they become friends. And John Carpenter's sole job, because this technology was so incredibly new and expensive, he had a job focused on selling video equipment to companies and to rich people who could afford them. And by that, I mean video recorders and the VCR. That is a huge, huge part of this because at this point, they were not affordable to just your everyday Joe Schmo person. I think Andy's having some internet problems.
He'll hop back on soon, I am sure.
Yeah. So that is to say that this stuff is luxury equipment. It is very expensive and not everyone has it. But Bob Crane was, I'm sorry, just real quick. Bob Crane had a hobby as a photographer and took to it and became very, very fascinated with how these machines worked. So, sorry.
Oh, I was going to add to that also. I think that one of the most important things whenever we're talking about a huge advent in technology is that the first thing that anybody uses technology for is sex. The first time when we got the internet, it was all about sex. When we got VR, it was all about sex. Every single time that there is a big, huge change in technology like this, people are like, how can we use it to fuck, though?
That is true. But here's the weird thing is you are 100% right. Bob Crane took it to a little bit of a degree weirder than just sex. So let's learn a little bit more about Bob and talk about the public persona of Bob.
Great.
1960s, Bob Crane was living the dream. He had a perfect smile, razor-sharp timing, and a reputation as one of the most likable men in show business. Audiences fell in love with him as Colonel Robert Hogan, the clever and charismatic lead on Hogan's Heroes.
Stop.
What's going on?
Was that a stop point?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Set in a German POW camp
What is that
during World War
noise?
Andy, is that your I think you got the thing that was happening on WATP again, sadly.
Trial version.
Can you hear us, Andy?
Trial version.
I don't think that Andy can hear us right now. I'm going to mute that for a second.
Trial version.
I think Andy's got the tech issues again, unfortunately. Oh, boy. Andy. All right. Well, hopefully he'll be back in just a second. But for the meantime, we will get back into this.
2. The show explores the various hijinks of a group of prisoners led by U.S. Air Force Colonel Robert Hogan. The man who donned the role of the title character and anchored the main cast through its 6-season run, however, was a boyish-looking Connecticut native by the name of Bob Crane. Crane had been interested in performing ever since he was a small child. In 1949, he married Ann Terzian, and the couple would later go on to have 3 children, Robert,
All right,
Deborah,
if I can get you to pause it right here, this is also a very important part of the story, that Bob Crane was married and had 3 kids. He, at the time, was giving off the image of a very happily married family man. And to some extent, as crazy as it might sound now, Hogan's Heroes was a family program. It was a sitcom, and it was meant to appeal to families. Because, as odd as it sounds, it was a very clean show. It was very clean comedy, and the jokes were meant to have a very broad audience. So that's a really important part, despite the subject matter and dichotomy of how weird it was.
I really, really wish that I had producer Chris right now to do drops, because I feel like this is just perfect for the Simpsons. Oh, I don't know if divorced people eat crackers, but I don't want to find out.
And frankly, we don't want to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, one of my favorite lines.
Karen. Bob got a job at a New York radio station in 1950 working as a disc jockey. In 1956, they hired Crane to re-energize their fading flagship station in California called KNX. Bob was given his own show, which quickly became a massive hit. Mr. Crane continued to host the show for the next 8 years and managed to parlay its immense success into several television appearances. These included spots on Alfred Hitchcock Presents, The Twilight Zone, and General Electric Theater. After Carl Rayner appeared on his radio show as a guest, Bob convinced him to book a guest spot for him on The Dick Van Dyke Show.
If I can pause it real quick. It does accidentally, it does mispronounce Carl Reiner's name as Carl Rayner. But in doing research, this is part of what was really interesting to me, was that he obviously had a talent for salesmanship. He was very charming and he had a lot of charisma. And so while he was working as a DJ on the radio, he has Carl Reiner on, and he just talks him into saying, hey, look, I'm a bit part actor, but I think I could really pull in some good laughs, and I think I could do a good job. Why don't you put me on your most popular and most successful TV show? Just give me a part. And Carl Reiner obliges. and gives him a part on the Dick Van Dyke Show. And
It's pretty amazing to get on all of these shows. I mean, it's a lot.
and there weren't nearly as many shows at this time as there were now.
Yeah,
so
everybody was
to-
watching whatever was on.
Exactly. And to take a chance by saying, give me a part, was really a much more high risk than it is today.
Yeah.
Because there weren't so many shows, but also just to give someone a chance on what is a success, not based on much of a pedigree or a
Trial
resume.
version.
Oh, Andy, I
We're-
think it's
we're-
happening again.
We're getting what is the trial version?
Oh. He
The-
dropped again. Andy's having the tech issues. All right. So we see Bob Crane is making it in all of the success stories in Hollywood. Shall we continue along?
Please go ahead.
Most popular programs on television at the time. Mr. Crane's performance was well received and caught the attention of famed actress Donna Reed, who offered Bob a guest spot on her own very popular television show. His appearance on the show went so well that his character went on to become a series regular for the remainder of the show's run. By this point, Bob was considered a solid comedic star. His quick wit and dry humor had become very popular with television audiences, and offers were now coming in strong. He left his radio
just
show in
real quick, I want to say that all of that charisma and all of that talking paid off. He actually was able to back up all of the claims that he made of "give me a shot, I'll make you proud," or however he phrased it with Carl Reiner, and said, "Look, I'm going to really do a good job." Despite not having a lot of experience in doing this, he does it and actually wins over Donna Reed, who was at the time an incredibly powerful person as far as TV was concerned, and she says, "Come on my show."
Yep.
And he lands now a permanent part of the show for at least for the remainder of the show, all simply based on him selling himself without the actual experience. Now, of course, he had radio experience and he knew how to, be funny, but that's still very different than acting. But he did it. And I feel like this is all also very important when analyzing where we're going to go with this story. But please go ahead.
Yeah, I love the salesmanship angle. I think you're spot on there.
1964 to pursue acting full-time, and the following year was offered the lead role in Hogan's Heroes. The role fit Crane like a glove. The quick-thinking, fast-talking colonel who expertly navigated the perilous situations the POWs turned spies found themselves in wound up being the performance that defined Crane's career, garnering him 2 Emmy nominations as well as mountains of other critical acclaim. Beneath the surface of all this tremendous success, however, Bob was hard.
I just want to point out. So this is his wife and 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The kid in the back in the red sweater, that looks like a 40-year-old man, right?
It is a little odd. It kind of looks like a ventriloquist dummy is what I thought. It
Yeah.
looked like.
What the hell is this kid? I'm sorry. I don't mean to make fun of children, but Jesus.
Harboring a dark secret that would not only destroy his marriage, but seems very likely to have contributed in some ways to his gruesome murder in 1978 at the age of 49. Bob Crane
So,
was riding high on a
What we're
wave.
going to learn... Oh. No, what we're going to learn is that Bob was a sex addict. There was no real diagnosis for it at this time.
It's my favorite
But
kind
he
of
was
addict.
he was a sex addict, but even more, what am I trying to say here? That was his baseline, was sex addiction. And it, in a very odd way, when he begins to learn about technology and the growing world of electronics, his sex addiction begins to evolve. And this is where it gets weird. So,
of unstoppable success. But beneath the polished surface, something darker was beginning to form. Those who worked closely with him noticed subtle changes. His relationships became more strained. His need for excitement started bleeding into risky behavior,
This just all sounds like me. I feel like I'm a sex addict, is what I'm learning from this episode. I don't want to. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm out.
What's funny is that, like, I feel like the word sex addiction gets thrown around a lot. We're going to see, I think to some extent every guy is a sex addict, and in the colloquial way of saying it. But what we're going to see here is it overrun his life. It becomes such a controlling factor in his personality and his psyche, and it goes to a level that ruins him. But again, it's not your base sex addiction in which you just say, I, want to have this weird physical connection with someone. It gets weird.
Listen, no matter how much porn I'm watching, I still make it to work every single day. I'm not an addict, damn it.
And yet, none of it
Yeah.
made headlines. At least, not yet. Because while Bob Crane was making people laugh on camera, off camera, he was descending into something far more disturbing. As Hogan's Heroes climbed the ratings, Bob Crane was building a second life, one that no one on set ever saw. To the public, he was the affable Colonel Hogan, cracking jokes and outsmarting the enemy with a grin. But when the cameras stopped rolling, Crane was chasing something very different. Behind closed doors, he had developed an obsession, one that would not just derail his career, but cast a permanent shadow over his legacy. It started subtly. While still hosting radio shows in Los Angeles, Crane developed a fascination with photography.
That's an amazing picture also. He looks like a Stewart from SNL in that picture. Jesus Christ. What the fuck?
For a moment,
Oh
I
my
thought
God.
about doing some face swaps with that picture, but I was like, it's not going to make sense to anybody.
No, it's perfect. It looks like a face swapped picture already. It looks like this is AI. That's insane.
Yeah,
I
it does.
love that.
So,
oh my good
so
God.
this is actually a great place to stop because I want to reiterate, we did talk about it already a little bit, but before fame, he had photography as a hobby.
Yeah.
He liked photography, and I think anybody for a moment in their life enjoys photography. Once you kind of learn about how to take a good picture, you kind of have fun with it, especially our generation when we all had Polaroids and, and camcorders. But again, I want to make it really clear that this is technology that is not available to everyone at this time. It is expensive, it's heavy, it's hard to find. But it was a hobby for some wealthy people. And he was actually apparently a very good photographer. So let's keep going.
But not just artistic stills or portraits. He became interested in filming his private encounters with women. Some were brief flings, others were relationships. Many of the women involved did not even know they were being recorded. And for Bob Crane, the camera was not just a prop. It became the centerpiece of his life off camera. Bob Crane was a sex addict.
I love voyeurism. It's my favorite.
Here's the weird thing, though. It wasn't voyeurism. His sex addiction evolved from having sex with women, a lot of the time using his fame to convince women, to go home with him. And a lot of the time it was also prostitutes. He develops an addiction to watching pornography that he is the centerpiece of. He can't watch other people having sex. He begins to develop an addiction to only wanting to watch himself have
It's like
sex.
next level narcissism right there. I
Yes.
think that I'm the last person. I would not want to watch myself have sex. Like I love porn. Porn is great. It is really fun to watch other beautiful people have sex. I'm good though. I'm good.
But here's how weird it got. Again, with learning about, technology and having this accessible to him, he and John Carpenter begin to actually have a team going of picking up women. And they videotape themselves having sex. And he also, anytime he had sex, would also take still shots. Now, there was a brief picture there. We're going to see it again later in this video package. Wherever he was, he had to make a dark room to develop these photos. We didn't have, pictures available to us just to immediately on our phones. He had to develop them. and he literally could not function unless he was developing photos of women. And apparently he took great care of the sex videos he was making, in which several were found in which he edited them and gave them soundtracks. He wanted to see himself performing. Supposedly, the number of women that he had sex with is in the thousands, and he had photo albums of every single one of them that he would flip through. And even his children said that one time they got into his car and the entire back seat was loaded with photo albums of naked ladies that he had had sex with. And the real, I guess, mystery of his sex addiction was it narcissism or was it reliving the moment? I guess it could be both, but he apparently could not let go, and his life becomes reliving sexual encounters through either seeing photos of them, watching himself constantly, and it begins to overtake his life. And I don't want to spoil this part, but he begins to become desensitized to it.
What percentage of women have talked about this? Like, what percentage of women that are in the pictures? Has anybody talked about this? Do we get accounts from the women?
I have heard two different accounts from anonymous women.
Okay.
One source that I read said that all the women were aware of the videos, whereas another source said they had no idea. We're going to learn that the willingness bears a little bit more credibility because supposedly there was, I don't think this is going to spoil anything. We're going to find out there was a trial in Bob Crane's murder, and given as evidence was a video of him having a threesome with a woman, and it was apparently very clear that that the video was out and that they could see it. Supposedly. I haven't seen the video. I don't think the public's ever going to see the video. But supposedly the person that was accused of killing him used to share women with him and would tag team Eiffel Tower these
That's
women
what friends
with
are
Bob
for.
Crane. Yes.
That's what friends are for.
So there's a lot of rumors and there's so many unanswered questions, but these parts are facts. That when he was killed, the police, he wasn't living at his permanent address when he was killed. He was actually traveling because he was part of a dinner theater in Arizona. So he had a temporary apartment. And in the temporary apartment, they said it looked like a giant lab of photo equipment because even in the short amount of time he was living there, he couldn't go without having sex, videoing it, editing it, and taking photographs and creating photo albums of the women that he was having sex with. So it was a constant, overwhelming aspect of his life. He couldn't go without it. It begins to overtake his life. And
Amen.
it's crazy. It is an insane combination of, sex, narcissism, technology. That is the weirdest part about this, is that as video technology is actually evolving in the short span of these few years, he is obsessed with what he can do with it and how he can feed his narcissism and his sex addiction through technology. So he's essentially becoming almost like an android or a cyborg, where this technological evolving part is becoming part of him. It's very, very weird. But anyway, we can keep going.
Yes, and we're joined again by Andy.
Andy,
Are
everything
we
We're
works?
now?
excited. Fingers crossed.
It's probably not still working though.
You're a
We can
little
hear
bit
ya.
loud. You're a little bit loud, but I can hear you and you look great.
Okay, I just got to get my speaker output going, but I can.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to hit a couple of super chats and then we'll get back into the package.
Great.
Actually, Luigi, would you mind reading these? I am not wearing my glasses today like
No
a
problem.
dum-dum.
Woody from Syracuse. Thank you very much for the $4.99. You want to see a great movie about Bob Crane? Check out Autofocus with Greg Kinnear and Willem Dafoe. P.S. Lucy, sorry for all the DMs. I know you've been busy.
I have not checked any DMs. I apologize. Luigi was just telling me about autofocus before we started. I have not seen it, and I need to.
Autofocus is a great movie, and I don't know, like once a year you'll find it on a free service like Tubi or Prime or something like that. It's worth a watch, and it was actually originally rated NC-17 because of the sexual elements to it, and it's weird that it does such a good job of really conveying how sick Bob Crane might have been while maintaining his career and actually even excelling to some extent at his career while having this very, very crippling obsession. It's good. And Willem Dafoe just knocks it out of the park as always.
I can't wait to watch that.
Hamhead. 10 Luigi Greenberg memberships. Thank you so much. Hold on. That's Hamhead. So he always asks for a little something. How about this?
It's perfect. Nobody deserves it more than Hamhead.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, make sure also, if you guys are watching this on Once Over with Kaylee, make sure that you're also going over to Luigi Greenberg, signing up over there, Skeptical Robot, and also All Apologies podcast for Andy.
Don't worry about that.
Simul stream all this stuff, but if you guys haven't scooped up those gifted memberships yet, make sure you're over there and snagging them.
Big Daddy Dodo, thank you for the $1.99. Hey kids, how's everyone doing today? Doing all right.
Better than Andy, it feels
can't
like.
you tell? You really have to ask that question? All I had to do was switch computers.
Salt in the wound for Andy over here.
You sound great though, Andy. We're glad that you're here. Big Daddy Dodo. Oh, hey, do you see the profile pic
Oh my
there?
God, it's the Stewart. Jesus Christ, it's amazing.
Thank you for the $1.99. Oh, hi, Kaylee.
Hello, Big Daddy Dodo.
Donna G, thank you for the $19.99. Happy Monday, folks. Have a great week. Thank you, Donna
Monday,
G.
Donna
Best day of the
G.
week.
Yeah, just another manic Monday.
Rob K, thank you for the $2. How about a similar stream on Jimmy Savile? Actually, Rob K, we might do that, but if I can make a recommendation, I actually did cover Jimmy Savile with Echo Pineapple. I believe it was in November of last year. It'll be on Eccles' channel. Check that out. We got into that one, and we all gave up. We're like, no, can we stop? We don't want to do this anymore. It got bad. Rebel Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast. Thank you for the $5. My father had a dark room. Let's stop it there. Let's get next one. I'm kidding. My father had a dark. I'm kidding. I was kidding.
I can't see far enough to know if it's real or not.
No, my father had a dark room in our basement and taught us how to develop film. It was just the night sky and the neighboring. Nothing this exciting that you know of. But hey, how great would it be though for a father to teach his son to develop pics of naked ladies?
Don't know. That's creepy and weird, and I don't like it. You're not allowed to
Son,
talk
here's
about
this
that.
whore that I plowed in Arizona.
Sounds like an interesting story. I wish I had heard it.
I'll start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Deadpool, thank you for the $9.99. Addict or enthusiast? LOL.
I agree. I am with you, Deadpool. That's my opinion as well.
I will say Bob Crane was probably a lot of fun to have a couple of beers with, but we're going to learn how it really impacted his life and became a real burden. Let's see. Asa Baby Burden, formerly Carl. Thank you for the $1.99. Block him.
You have to read it. I see an awful lot of A's.
Thank you, Carl. Gay. Carl. I love Carl. Carl's great. But I always threaten to block him. And he always finds a way back. Thank you, Carl.
All right, let's get back into this package. We got to find out more about Bob Crane here.
And you know what? Maybe a recap. Maybe this is actually a good time for a recap. Just real quick, very brief. So here's the thing, Andy. Bob Crane our lovable Nazi fighter, was actually a very, very troubled guy personally. He had this public life of trying to maintain a very family-friendly image, had a wife, had 3 kids, but he was a sex addict in a very unusual way. He loved making his own pornos and became so addicted to only watching pornos involving himself. So his sex addiction evolved from sex to watching himself have sex. Sex becomes only simply a step in fulfilling his actual obsession and need, which is he wants to edit videos, give them soundtracks, and make interesting pornos of himself to watch while he jerks off to himself.
Sounds like a narcissist.
Yes. And also apparently loved still photography so much that of the thousands of women that he did bed, he kept photo albums that he would relive all of his encounters with them, and also becomes desensitized to the fact where he didn't hide them. His kids said that he just kept all of the albums in his car, that he left them out. They saw them. They saw his dad fucking women in these photo albums and were just like, that's dad.
Drama.
That's gross.
It's a little gross.
You don't want to watch your dad fucking? Come on. It's not appropriate at all. I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm
How do you
smiling
think
through
you
it so
got
I don't have
here,
to
Andy?
emotionally deal with it. No. All right, I'm playing this video package again before we talk too much more about
All right,
that.
just real quick though, this is at the birth of home video technology, and he just simply sees this technology, which is very expensive at the time and not available to the public, as a way to feed his obsession, and he begins to partner with a guy named John Carpenter, who was a video equipment salesman for Sony. I don't think I mentioned Sony yet. He worked for Sony. Sony's always an evil corporation. And he begins to actually share his conquests with John Carpenter. They tag team a few broads. They actually have their own women. They like to video one another. It actually kind of crosses a line of kind of gay, Carl. And there are rumors, and it's actually hinted at in the movie Autofocus, that John Carpenter might have been bisexual. But let's see a little bit more.
And weekends out on sexual escapades with prostitutes and women he'd met at nightclubs. More specifically, however, Bob seemed to particularly enjoy videotaping his sexual encounters. He'd taken a great interest in home video and photography as a hobby, and had an entire production room in his house dedicated to storing video equipment and tapes. While on the set of Hogan's Heroes, co-star Richard Dawson introduced Bob to a man named John Carpenter. Carpenter was a sales manager.
I want to make that clear just real quick, that the Family Feud host is the reason Bob Crane got murdered. We're gonna see the connection, but just I think a lot of people know how this story quasi ends. We eventually believe this really isn't going to spoil anything. There is a strong belief that John Carpenter is the one that killed Bob Crane. There's a lot of evidence, and this is not spoiling anything because it is essentially unsolved. But the theories do lend themselves that to the belief that John Carpenter is the one that killed Bob Crane, and he was made the introduction by Richard Dawson. So, thank you, Family Feud.
Dang
Another
it,
murder.
Dawson.
Another
those
murder
kisses
caused
for
by
nothing.
Family Feud.
Yeah.
One pervert to another.
For Sony Electronics, and would often help affluent clients with purchasing high-end video equipment. John and Bob hit it off almost immediately, quickly becoming close friends. And soon it was discovered they both shared a similar appetite for recording themselves with young women. They began frequenting bars together, where Mr. Crane would introduce John to others as his manager. Using his celebrity status and considerable charisma, Bob would often make sure the duo left the bar they attended with a group of young women who they'd take back to a hotel room and have sex with. Over the years of doing this, Bob
Real quick,
amassed
can I
thousands.
stop it for a second? I don't know how true this is, but the rumor is that Bob's move was that during rerun season, he would go to bars, and while Hogan's Heroes was on, he would sit at the bar and ask the bartender to put on whatever television they had to put on Hogan's Heroes, and he would pretend to get embarrassed and be like, "Oh, yeah, that's me. That's me." But he would supposedly ask the bartender to put Hogan's Heroes on. And then the first woman that said, "Aren't you?" And he'd be like, "What? How do you know?" And he'd look up at the TV and go, "Oh my God, I'm so embarrassed. Yes, that's me. I'm Bob Crane. Let's fuck." So,
I think that's a lot of Hollywood. I can't
Yeah.
even hold that one to him. I think there's a lot of people in Hollywood that do stuff like that.
Yeah, he's in love with himself. Let me ask you this. Could you not find the Crypt Keeper voice to narrate this? Is it the creepiest fucking narrative that you could have found?
What's funny is that's actually on purpose, because the only voice that I could really find that narrated it well was British, and I was like, I don't know, I really want it to be clear, so that's me messing with it, trying to make it more clear, and yeah, it is a creepy voice. Sorry.
Oh my God, that makes it both better and worse. I feel like
It's
All right.
it's a robot. It's technology. It really just blends itself right into the
Listen,
storyline.
We already went over this. We use technology for sex, not weird, creepy robot voices. Good God.
Speak for yourself.
Hundreds of hours of home videos and thousands of photos from hundreds upon hundreds of women across the country. It became very
Who wouldn't
difficult
fuck
for
Bob
Crane
Crane?
to hide his lifestyle from his wife, if he even tried hiding it at all. And according to his son Robert, he was made aware of his father's promiscuous nature as young as 16. Despite all this, however, Bob's children state he was a very loving and caring father. He wasn't even remotely abusive to them or his wife Anne, and went out of his way to make sure they had a fun and happy childhood. As far as vices were concerned, he didn't smoke and only drank occasionally, seemingly viewing his evening rums at the bar more as a vessel for meeting women than an occasion to get drunk. Understandably,
So
though,
that's one thing I really want to also emphasize, is that apparently he had no vices. And this actually plays a little bit of a part in the eventual murder, in that, I'm sorry, no normal vices.
Yeah, okay.
He didn't drink. He didn't like drinking, and he didn't do drugs. And apparently he looked down upon it and was actually very moral, or subjectively moral, in telling other people that they shouldn't drink and do drugs.
Isn't that always the way? You know,
It-
it's
it-
like,
it
shame,
really is.
shame on your vices.
And
Meanwhile,
now-
I'm fucking myself.
Yeah, fucking yourself raw before AIDS. Ah, what a time. And then one part of the story that, even though this is a popular story, as far as, the murder, one thing that kind of gets overlooked in the narrative is that Bob and John were both married at the time. They were doing this while married.
Yeah, you see that thing on your face, Luigi? That's what that is. It's called a beard. You have to
Yeah.
pretend that you're normal.
And it ruins Bob's marriage, because she finds out, doesn't like it. And
Did you think she was gonna like it? She was gonna be like, "Yay, it's fucking great!" Oh
She
my
didn't
God,
like
I'm so
the
happy.
the binder after binder that she found under her son's bed of her husband fucking other women. She didn't like that.
guess what?
Crazy.
Guess what?
Oh no.
He finds someone that doesn't care.
Well,
That's
I mean, he
Mrs.
had
Crane
to.
Mrs. Crane number 2 says, "Meh." as long as you pay the bills.
Well,
But do you know who Mrs. Crane number 2 was?
who?
Kaylee.
Let's find out.
Oh.
his lifestyle started to have an impact on his marriage, and things seemed to come to a head when he began a romantic affair with his Hogan's Heroes co-star
His
Sigrid
co-star?
Valdez. He and Anne
On his
divorced in
TV show.
1970, and later that year Mr. Crane and Miss Valdez were married on the set of the show, with Richard Dawson serving as Bob's best man.
And
Hogan's
again,
Heroes was
Richard Dawson's involvement in this guy's life. But yes, he marries his co-star. I don't know of anybody in my life that's ever met someone at work and had a successful relationship. I realize it can happen. I just don't know anybody. But especially when you are already married and you decide to cheat on your wife with a coworker and then marry them. But that's what he did. So just want to make all that
dip
clear.
your pen in the company ink. Bob.
Exactly. And then go
canceled
spread
in
it around a bunch of other
1971
places.
after its sixth season. Despite still being relatively popular, Bob assumed the next phase of his career would be a seamless transition, as he had risen from the ranks of disc jockey to leading actor on a comedy series within the last decade. Later that same year, Sigrid gave birth to a son named Scotty, Crane's fourth child, and a short time later the couple adopted a daughter. Sigrid was apparently aware of her husband's extracurricular activities, but didn't participate herself and seemed to kind of just begrudgingly accept what he was doing. For a
Do you know if he had pictures of her?
He never had sex with her. I'm joking. I don't know. No, I have no idea. Well,
I mean,
see,
I wonder if part of the excitement is this is a random person, not somebody that I like enough to get married to.
yes, I do believe that's exactly what it was. But unfortunately, we don't know anything about who was really on those photos because they have immediately went into police custody and have not been made available to the public. But that is their story. But no, I 100% agree with that he probably gave her the worst, what was left over of Bob, and gave all the randos the good Bob.
The extra cum.
Yes.
She got no cum. He was firing blanks. God
Is
damn it.
that
All
what
right.
women love? They love the extra cum? All right.
I'm gonna stop talking now, lest I say more words. And yeah.
Sex
Time
advice
at
from
least.
Kaylee.
Bob started off the post-Hogan's hero stretch of his career by appearing with two of his series co-stars in a comedy movie called The Wicked Dreams of Paula Schultz. That was not very well received by critics or audiences. He would make sparse appearances on several different television series throughout this time, but couldn't quite seem to find anything solid that would keep him regularly employed. To pass the time between roles, he began to work in roadshow dinner theaters, which may sound really beneath someone with his resume, but was actually not that uncommon for movie and television stars of the time. He'd
Let's
actually
pause it
been
for
doing
let's just pause for a second. At the time, TV was not what it is today, where it's respected and, there's been real leaps and bounds of quality television. It was considered to be the lesser art form, and doing dinner theater was, at the time, considered to be even less than TV. Almost like a phone screener from the Howard Stern show doing sports memorabilia conventions, something pathetic,
Yeah.
but the thing was, it kept his bills paid. He made money off of it, and he traveled where these dinner theater productions were going to be in the cities where they were, and he would just stay there, do long residencies there, and he just traveled and was never in the same spot for very long, maybe like a couple months at a time. That is a very big part of this story. That's going to
Sure.
just wanted to give that a little bit of context of why he wasn't necessarily at his home when he
Yeah.
was murdered. But
It's a good way to dig up some new co-stars for your little home
Yeah.
movie productions, I
some
assume.
new randos.
Yes.
So many women, so little time.
this as a side gig while Hogan's Heroes was still on the air, and by all accounts really enjoyed it. Acting in front of a live audience really played to his strengths as a performer, and the shows he played in were quite popular. This would allow him to travel across the country meeting new women and feeding his ever-growing appetite for sex and making homemade pornography. Mr. Carpenter would time his business trips with Crane's dinner theater tours so the two could meet up on the road and continue their escapades together. Bob's addiction was starting to encompass every aspect of his life,
This
however.
is what I was hinting at right here. This is where we're going to see that, look, splitting up a couple of randos is fun, but it actually becomes a overwhelming part of his life. And this is where it starts to really cross the line into, oh no, this guy might be in trouble. So here you go.
His son Robert recalled often seeing pictures his father had taken of women. His other son Scotty claimed his father's collection of pictures had become so massive they were even spilling over into family albums, something his mother Sigrid wasn't very happy about. When Bob was cast in the lead role of the
That's Kurt Russell,
1973
by the way, on
Disney
the left.
film Superdad, his brazenness on set about his sexual escapades stunned many of his co-workers. Apparently, it was not uncommon for Mr. Crane to bring in albums of naked women he'd photographed and show them off to people he worked with. According to his son Rob,
Do we know if they were tasteful pictures? Like, are we talking like
We're talking bad.
steel toe topless pictures? Are we talking like very va va voom pinup
From-
girl pictures?
From
Like,
what from what I understand, they were intended to be tasteful nudes, but who knows what they were. But also take into context, this is a Disney production. And a guy who has maintained this family-friendly image for so long and is now out of a job and trying to get his footing back into the industry that had essentially rejected him, he is now on the set of a I don't want to exaggerate, a 1968, I believe, 68, 69 maybe, Disney production. They are the most family-friendly company on the planet at the time, and he is on the set saying, "Look at this this broad I banged. Here's a naked photo of her, and then also flip the page. There's more broads I banged. Check that out." Huh?
Kurt Russell's showing up on set saying, "Bob gave me a ride to the set, and the trunk of his car kept popping open because there's so many photo albums stuffed
Just
into it."
photographs flying across the highway.
Yeah, they're just
That's
blowing out of his moving car.
so. I didn't leave a lot. The next section of this clip is gonna mention it a little bit, but that gets back to the Disney executives. And they are not happy about this. And they definitely are trying to hide it from the public. They don't want other people to hear about this because it's going to look like they hired a pervert. And of all people at the time, Disney doesn't want that. And
I thought that's why they made the movie Flubber or the Nutty. They're just like, there's so much cum coming out of this guy. We have to turn it into a character in a movie.
I knew I liked those movies for a reason.
Yeah.
There's so much cum. I got an idea. How about a guy who makes cum into bouncy material?
Yeah.
Yes. At the time, there are We Demand Songs of the South and Bob Crane. You got no argument
demand
here.
that.
But what's funny is, it makes a lot of people uneasy. Something tells me Kurt Russell was like, "Oh, hey, you want to see a real photo album? Check this out." But he starts, and the point of me bringing this up is that he's desensitized to it.
Yeah.
That, to me, is scarier. Like, that to me is frightening. That is something that I feel like I deal with on a regular basis, and that I'm going to be like at a conversation where people are talking about normal things and I'm going to say the weird thing. You know, I always am thinking, oh, hey, you know what? The Zodiac killer killed 8 people. And hey, we were talking about work things. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. like I am always on edge of, don't be weird.
That's a real fear. That's a legit fear. I mean, I've never been so happy to have not gotten laid a whole lot because I'll never get bored with normal pussy. And that's why all these guys like Will Smith and Tom Cruise and John Travolta, all these guys that are so hot that they get pussy all the time. Those are the guys that are they get bored with pussy. So they start sucking dick because they're like, I got to change it up.
Supposedly Charlie Sheen admits to it in this new documentary. I haven't seen it, but I read an article that supposedly he just says, "Hey man, I was just having so much sex, I just thought throw a guy on the pile."
Yeah.
And I'm like, pussy's pretty awesome, man. Like I'm
I
not looking.
know, like,
I'm not looking to change up the diagram. Here. I'm not looking to really change much about it. It works fine.
Yeah. I don't want my innie to turn into an Audi. I'm good with it.
Yeah, exactly. Missing in action. It's like, you know what? Bob Crane is a perfect example. Hey, let's talk about our client. Did you know Bob Crane was into making pornos of himself and masturbating to them? I have such a fear of being the weird guy. This motherfucker is on the set of a Disney production, and I realize that doesn't mean the same thing today. It meant something very different back then, and it was uber family friendly. And there was not allowed to be, any shenanigans. And here he is showing off what I imagine were huge tits and giant bushes to a bunch of people on staff, just saying, check this out. And if you're not impressed by this, I got more of these in the car.
Luckily, there's no sexual harassment policies back then, so
exactly. But again,
fine.
Yeah, but it does make it, the news apparently was not unnoticed. So anyway, all right, let's keep going.
Robert, Bob didn't view this as something that would make people uncomfortable or have any ill intent behind it. More that he just saw it as something fun and never really thought it could get him in trouble. Executives at Disney discovered this and, needless to say, were not very happy. Sexual promiscuity in one's personal life was one thing, but when they're on set for your family-friendly film sharing photos of nude women with their co-workers, that's something entirely different. Mr. Crane wasn't fired from the film right away, but it severely hampered any future prospects he had within the company, and he was never offered a lead role again, only appearing in one more film.
It destroys his movie career. It has his obsession and his love of taking pictures of naked ladies has now effectively destroyed his movie career.
Yeah, and this is why they came up with sexual harassment policies. It's like whenever you see a sign that says "Don't stick feminine hygiene products down the toilet," that's because somebody did that. So they needed to put up a sign not to do it. And
what bathrooms are you going into?
Yours mainly, but Bob Crane is showing up on set with all these fucking nude selfies, and they're like, "We got to start an HR department just for this guy."
I'm not kidding. And it's so funny that in this world we live in, about 2 months ago, I had to have a meeting with someone that told an employee, "Why'd you wear that shirt today? You're not showing any cleavage."
Yeah. Smart.
Why wasn't she?
Yeah.
I heard this. This gets sent to me in an email, and I'm just like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" Like, why do I have to have a conversation with this person? Anyway, but yes, it's crazy. There are people who just don't fucking think in the workplace. Yeah.
Produced by them. By this point, work was becoming hard for Crane to come by. Frustrated with the limited offers he was getting, Bob continued to work in dinner theaters across the country. In 1975, a ray of hope appeared when NBC approached him about starring in a sitcom simply titled The Bob Crane Show. He readily agreed, but unfortunately the show did not perform well and was canceled after only 13 episodes.
He also
to make
demanded
matters
whores.
Worse,
Well, who doesn't?
things had become rocky in his home life as well, leading to him and Sigrid separating in 1977. Bob would
Turns out
continue
she
to
got
rely
tired of
on
it, too.
dinner theater productions to maintain his income.
Then, in 1978, just as he was trying to rebuild his life with stage work and a second marriage, Bob Crane was found bludgeoned in his apartment. The room showed no signs of forced entry, nothing was stolen, and the only other person with regular access to that apartment was John Carpenter, but that was only the beginning.
So let's just make that clear that he's doing this dinner theater in Arizona. He lives in LA, this is away from home. But as we've heard, John Carpenter was arranging his own business trips around Bob's schedule so that he could get a little bit of the pussy runoff, pussy overflow, if you want to call it. his scraps, his pussy scraps. And he's basically like a dog to Bob Crane. A parasite. He's just latched himself onto Bob Crane's pussy magnet, and he's like, throw me a couple of pussies, boss. And just, and going with him to all these places where Bob is traveling also as part of his dinner theater tour. Their friendship is so close. The only person that had a key to Bob's temporary residence was John Carpenter. And there was no forced entry at Bob's murder. Keep all that in mind. Let's go.
Brutal discovery came just after noon. When a theater colleague could not reach Bob Crane by phone, he went to check on him at the Winfield Place apartments, where Crane had been staying during a stage run of Beginner's Luck. What he found inside Unit 132A would become one of the most baffling and disturbing crime scenes in Hollywood history. Bob Crane was lying motionless in bed. The weapon used had left deep lacerations in his skull, too forceful, too personal. He had been struck repeatedly, likely while he slept, and a twisted electrical cord was loosely tied around his neck. But strangely, nothing else in the room was disturbed. There was no sign of forced entry, no valuables missing, no evidence of a robbery gone wrong. What investigators did find, though, raised immediate red flags. Video cameras, tripods, cables, tapes, dozens of them, all detailing Crane's private life in explicit detail. It was clear that this was not a random break-in. Whoever had done this knew him, knew his habits, and may have even been watching. There were no defensive wounds. That suggested Bob had either been asleep or he trusted the person enough to let them in without hesitation. One of the last people to see him alive was John Carpenter, who had flown in from Los Angeles to visit Crane just days earlier.
Okay, so I have a question.
Please.
If John Carpenter was getting his pussy run off, if he was getting the sloppy seconds or the whatever the heck, all the additional bonus pussy that existed in Bob Crane's life, what would be his motive? And perhaps we will be getting into this, but
Just about to get to it.
I mean, I would think I would want to keep the pussy flowing.
Yeah. Clip that. Somebody clip that.
Yeah. Ditto.
I've been trying to keep the pussy flowing.
I'm gonna just play the video again. Leave
But
me alone.
real quick though, if you see the dramatic reenactment there, the theorized weapon that killed him was, as they said, there was a cord ripped out of the wall and wrapped around his neck, and it is believed that he was beaten in the head with a camera tripod, which is just such an ironic death given his obsession. But the thing is, that is in I guess in popular culture, that's kind of been concluded. But the truth is, we don't know. That's a theory that's only been theorized, and there's been no weapon ever recovered.
How do we know that he wasn't like setting up a tripod to get like an aerial like mirror on the ceiling shot? And obviously nobody that I know ever has problems with their equipment. Maybe you just set it up bad and it fell off the tripod and the camera landed on his head.
It landed on his head about 37 times.
Yes.
I'm just saying.
That's
you guys,
take 30.
Take 30. I feel like this is perfect. Live by the pussy, die by the pussy. Live by the tripod, die by the tripod. That's what we're doing here, right?
I want to die by pussy. Just
Clip that too.
say.
Oh my God damn it, I hate this so much.
Dinner the night before the murder. They even watched some of their home videos together. According to Carpenter, everything seemed fine when he left, but the Scottsdale police were not so sure. They immediately saw Carpenter as a person of interest. He had access. He had motive, jealousy, resentment, maybe something deeper. And most damning of all, a witness claimed that Crane had tried to end the friendship just days before his death.
There you go. Now pause it for just a second. This is a theory, and I believe to some extent there's kernels of truth in it, but I don't think that the entirety of it has really been proven. But supposedly, Bob told a few people, and it's just hearsay. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. It's just hearsay, but supposedly Bob told a few people, I'm getting really sick of John Carpenter. I got to cut him loose. He's becoming a burden.
Yeah.
And what's weird about it, though, is that that's open for interpretation because no one really knows exactly what that meant. It could have meant, and as the movie Autofocus suggests, that John Carpenter made a pass at him and was like, come on, man. Like, look, we're having sex together. Why not, with other women? Why not just cut out the middleman? Those were my words. I don't know that he really said that, but
I hired this guy to film me fucking so that I could watch myself having sex, and this guy keeps zooming in on my taint, and I'm sick of it. I have to get rid of this guy. I don't like his cinematography is all wrong.
If you haven't seen the movie, it's actually a pretty funny scene. The movie is not funny, but there is this one funny scene where it's Greg Kinnear and Willem Dafoe both. Oh, really? It's a great movie. It really is. But they're watching one of their videos, and Willem Dafoe's hand just kind of starts leaning over a little bit and touching Greg Kinnear, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "What? What's the big deal?" And he throws out the word fagula at some point. It's pretty funny. And just anytime someone says fagula, I will laugh. But that's one rumor. We don't know that to be true. But yeah, supposedly he was just getting fed up. Why he was fed up, we don't know. But it also could have been that he saw him as a
pussy stealer.
Yeah, maybe a pussy stealer, but also a pussy repellent. Like he was just like.
He could be, cock blocker.
Yeah, like I think he might have thought women aren't into him, so I gotta go out on my own. There's so many different reasons, but supposedly it is a fact that they did have a fight, and that Bob said, "I'm done with him." We just don't know the reasons why. So there you go, pussy.
Prosecutors brought Carpenter in for questioning, but without a weapon, without fingerprints, and without a clear timeline, the case stalled.
Looks like John wearing a wig, doesn't
At
he?
the time
He
of Mr.
seems
Crane's
nice.
death, the Scottsdale police didn't even have a homicide division, with Bob's murder being one of only 3 homicides that took place in the entire district that year. And as word got out about the television star's death, the enormity of the case quickly showed itself to be beyond what they were capable of dealing with. Several procedural missteps with regards to evidence handling took place, including the police allowing Bob's family to fly in and take items from the scene before they were even completely finished processing it. These errors would prove very costly in the future. The police found Mr.
Just real quick, this is a big part of the story, is that they fucked up the entire investigation and didn't know how to properly, or I shouldn't say they didn't know, they didn't have a lot of experience processing murders, and that while still in the investigation, his family flies in and they let the family go in and start taking things before they have actually completed their investigation. I imagine they're like, what do you do with his photo albums? I have no idea what they took. We don't know. And I don't think the police know either, but they just said, yeah, sure, whatever. If you want to run in there and grab some stuff, step over the blood.
Kurt Russell shows up with a giant duffel bag that he left with him.
He's never been happier.
It's crazy. They really messed everything up. They did not have
Are you telling me that police are sometimes bad at their jobs? I
am
believe
telling
that.
you, yes.
Completely impossible. Come on.
No, it's crazy. And they were completely inept, didn't know what they were doing. And also at this time, I want to make this clear, there's no such thing as DNA testing. That's going to come in a little bit with the investigation. But
just DNA leaving.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Which I assume there was a lot of DNA all over this place.
Right.
So much cum. Before we get back into finding out, I'm going to stop talking. God damn it. Before we get back into our little package here, I'm going to throw up a couple more super chats. And Luigi, again, if you will read these for me, I would appreciate that.
No problem. Mars, member for 10 months. Thank you, Mars.
The wonderful Mars, so talented.
Donald Gunzer, thank you for the $5. Crane must have been the inspiration for
OnlyFans. It's backwards.
I got it. I can't say the name. Why not?
People,
know.
are
That's
you not
weird.
allowed to
I
say
don't
OnlyFans in chat?
I don't know.
Oh, maybe you're not. Maybe they blocked it. Good for them.
I'm on OnlyFans. Raper butt.
More censorship. Thank God.
See my feet pics, folks. Actually, see me watching video of me having sex.
When
Save it
art
for-
becomes real life.
Yeah.
I know.
Save it for the next episode. Jesus.
That's pretty cool. Actually, now I'm thinking about like a full-on Inception porn. Like, okay, now I'm watching me have sex.
I assume that's what he was doing.
Raper butt, thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. Let's see, it is.
I want to give a shout out to Raper Butt. Also, Raper Butt has been producing the little quickies with Lucy that I've been doing over on my channel. He has been helping with writing all of those and figuring out all the legalese, and he's absolutely incredible. So, hi,
That
Raper.
By
all
the
just
way-
sounds like a Bob Crane production that you just described.
It's true. It's a Raper Butt production. It feels great. It's like my favorite kind of per butt, I guess. The Ray kind. I'm never allowed to talk ever again. Oh my God.
I'm sitting here thinking about it. You know, I end my shows with something that says Greenberg Productions. It very well might now be Bob Crane Productions.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All right, we got one more.
Just
of
real
the-
quick
go
though,
ahead.
I do want to just really pay you a compliment in that yesterday I watched your what, I don't know what you're calling them. Sorry, your short
Quickie with
on
Lucy?
Quickie with Lucy. It is great. So folks, if you haven't seen it, it is very well done, and she summarizes very, very complicated issues so concisely and articulately. Well done. That's a sincere compliment. Well done.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. I respect your opinion a ton. I was really proud of the editing on that one. I had a lot of fun doing it.
I'm the guy talking about jerking off to porn of yourself. Why would you respect my opinion?
So very much. So very much. All right, we got one more of
Thank
these,
you.
and then we'll get back into our clips.
Craig, New York 77, I believe I'm saying that right, I hope. $4.99. Got home late. Got to catch this on the replay. Love you guys. Keep rocking. Lucy, we will go shopping for movies one day. Craig actually
You didn't miss
recently-
anything, Craig. There's nothing to rewatch, really.
I don't know if you're friends with Craig Lucy, but he actually recently shared with me photos that he has of his DVD collection, and it is impressive. And you're the first person I thought of actually when he showed it to me.
Very cool.
It is an extensive DVD collection, but it is also like beautiful in its immense size.
I love that. I love that. Well, now I'm looking forward to seeing that. But in the meantime, let's talk about Pussy, I think.
Crane's videotape and photograph collection, which led them to John Carpenter, who had been in Phoenix a few days earlier to visit his friend. Police were immediately suspicious of him, as he'd not only been one of the last people to see Bob alive, but autopsy results revealed the instrument used to bludgeon Mr. Crane was likely a camera tripod. Furthermore, when the rental car Mr. Carpenter had used during his trip was examined, trace evidence of blood and tissue were found inside of it. Blood type testing matched Bob's blood type. However, DNA testing was still a few years away, so
Pause real
nothing
quick.
could be conclusively.
Didn't we say we were gonna have like a signal for pausing?
It's perfect. I love it.
I've cut out a lot. There's so much of the story, but I want to fill in a couple of short little gaps. And that is that when John Carpenter got called in, it was because he did a lot of really suspicious things. Supposedly, he kept calling the apartment while the police were there, asking for Bob. And I was like, is Bob there? And they're like, no, who's this? He's like, this is John. And they're saying, well, why are you calling? He goes, Bob was supposed to take me to the airport. And then they look at Bob's calendar, which he apparently kept out. There was even blood on it. And it said, it had a entry for the date that said, take John to airport, but it was marked off. And they were like, oh, well, it says on the calendar that he's not taking you to the airport. And he's like, nope. He's still taking me as far as I know. And then they said, why don't you come in? And he has this rental car that he had while he was in Arizona, and it's gleaming clean. And they ask him, why did you have your, that's obviously a fresh detail job. And he's just like, I wanted to get my car cleaned. I wanted to make sure it got scrubbed down really well because I got to turn it in. He's like stuttering over himself constantly. And then they say, hey, do you know anything about any enemies that Bob had? And he offers such weird answers where he's like, man, I think he got threatened by the husband of a girl he slept with. They're like, okay, well, what's his name? He just stutters a lot, can't come up, starts setting himself up where they ask him for details and he can't complete them. And at some point he says, you might want to check and see if he had sex recently. And they're like, well, why would we care about that? And he's like, because maybe it was a girlfriend, or maybe it was somebody that had a boyfriend or a husband.
Wouldn't it be obvious that
it was really weird.
Wouldn't it be obvious that he had sex recently? It sounds like he always had sex recently.
Yeah, and this was just part of his mumbling and rambling and nonsensical things he was saying where they thought, well, you really can't come up with a solid idea of what's going on or a solid alibi. You're a suspect. And he gave himself away, essentially, is my point. He stepped on a rake, just completely tried to avoid giving anything, and eventually gave everything away. At some point he talks about, Bob's sexual habits, where he's just like, he had this thing where he always forced himself to pee after sex, because there was an old wives' tale
That's smart ladies.
That if you could, but something about venereal disease, I don't remember, but it was just like, check to see if he has a mixture of piss and cum on his legs. Like it was really weird. He was saying such weird things. They were just like, why don't you hang out here? And the cleaning of the car was a big deal too. So again, I just want to give all this away that he very, very stupidly gave himself away. So.
Proven. John adamantly denied killing his friend, and with nothing but circumstantial evidence, prosecutors declined to file charges. As word got out to the public of Bob's sexual escapades, many wild theories and rumors began to arise in tabloids and other news publications. Above all, though, while Mr. Carpenter hadn't been charged in a court of law, as far as the court of public opinion was concerned, he was as guilty as could be. Many, including Bob's own family, vocally spoke of their belief he was guilty. According to Mr. Crane's son, Robert, his father had been complaining in the weeks leading up to his death that John had become a nuisance and was intending to cut off the friendship.
I would not talk to my kid about that. Here's this dude
It's
that I
odd,
banged
right?
chicks with.
Especially a
how
teenage
old was
boy.
the kid at that point? Yeah, that's not. Ugh.
Listen,
No.
Your Uncle John, he's really, really hamping my, really raining on my parade with the pussy. But another interesting thing here is that, so with the car, the police actually do a preliminary search of the car despite him cleaning it, and they find blood in it. And it turns out Bob has the rarest blood type, which is B positive. 1 in 7 people have that. Now, before DNA testing, they couldn't test it against his DNA, but that did narrow it down. How did Bob's blood...
A similar blood type.
A similar blood type. There you go. Yeah. A similar blood type, so rare as Bob's, get into John's car. Again, I didn't want to put every detail in here, but as I'm listening to this, it is kind of interesting, but go ahead.
He believed that Carpenter was enraged by this, as without the charm and celebrity of Bob around, his ability to feed his own considerable sexual addiction would rapidly diminish. By 1990, DNA testing had now become available, but was still in its infancy. Investigators from the Scottsdale Police Department had some of the blood samples tested, but the results were inconclusive. In a devastating blow, the all-important tissue sample had been lost due to clerical error by the SPD storage department and was not available to be tested.
So pause that for just a second. There was actually a tissue sample that was also taken from the car that I don't want to say with any certainty, because you never know what can be attributed to, gossip and rumor. But supposedly it was a piece of brain matter that was taken from the car and put into the police department's evidence storage. And now in 1990, there's this renewed interest now that there's DNA testing, and they go and say, well, hey, we still have that piece of brain. Let's go test it. And nobody can find it.
Again, you're telling me that the cops muddled something up? It's unbelievable to me.
I know that you believe that they are perfect. No, yeah, I mean, this is like one of the worst.
Even Andy looks
jobs.
too much like a cop for me right now. I don't like it.
I'm undercover.
Yeah.
Hunting for pussy.
Half of the tissue still remained, however, and police secured expert testimony which stated that the piece of human tissue in the image was brain matter. A judge ruled this evidence was admissible in court, and despite the case being a bit of a Hail Mary, murder charges were filed against Mr. Carpenter in June of 1992. As the trial began, things started to go bad for the prosecution almost immediately. Mr. Carpenter's defense effectively attacked the incompetence of the police's investigation, pointing out how they'd failed to secure the crime scene from contamination, as well as how they'd lost crucial evidence. Furthermore, they provided witnesses who'd seen Bob and John dining together just one day before the murder to disprove the theory that their friendship had become frayed. They stated that because of the nature of Mr. Crane's extracurricular activities, there was a good chance that the husband or boyfriend of one of his lovers had been the culprit, and provided tons of convincing evidence to support this theory. This included a man who'd taped a mutilated newspaper picture of Bob to his ex-girlfriend's door after finding out the two had slept together. This also included
just real quick. So apparently, in that muddled mess that came from John Carpenter, it turned out he actually had been threatened by an unnamed and unknown boyfriend. And that got brought up in Carpenter's trial. So,
actor from Texas who'd gotten into an argument with Mr. Crane a few months earlier and had sworn revenge. Even his ex-wife Anne was floated as a potential suspect. Throughout the whole trial,
Yeah, she seems suspicious.
John Carpenter repeatedly maintained his innocence, stating Bob was his best friend and that he would never have done this to him. Prosecutors were unable to effectively counter all these arguments without any concrete physical evidence, and Carpenter was acquitted of all charges.
he got acquitted. Yeah. So technically, it is an unsolved murder. Crazy.
Now, is there any... Okay, so they had the blood samples and the brain tissue was lost in the 90s. Are there still DNA samples for this now? Because the amount of change that has happened in DNA testing since the 90s and now is huge. I mean, that has been a huge, huge advancement in technology.
Let's watch.
Oh, boy.
The rest of his life out quietly before passing away in 1998. In the years that followed, the case still remained a hot topic in the media. Mr. Crane's children had their own unique way of handling the public discourse around it. Robert still stated his public belief that Carpenter was responsible, and even floated around the idea that his father's second wife, Sigrid, had played a part in the murder, as she'd been the one who gained the most financially from Bob's death. In 2015, he published a book on the case entitled Crane, Sex, Celebrity, and My Father's Unsolved Murder. His other son, Scotty, who himself had become an aspiring actor, also had a very unique way of dealing with the public eye on the case. In 2001, he launched a website that allowed users to view some of his father's pornographic pictures and videos for a fee. Unsurprisingly,
His son
Hell yeah.
wanted to sell the photos.
I'm just saying, every single new technology it's going to get used for sex. That's genius. He's a great marketer. Great marketer.
Some part of me
I support it.
understands, but you got to have a hook. Like, I'm going to just pay for random nudes of random women from the 70s.
People are crazy. Do you remember there was a
Yeah, all
website? There was a website in the early 2000s that was called guesshermuff.com, and it was probably not a great website in many of the consent ways, but you just saw a picture of a girl in clothing, and then you turned to the next picture, and it was what her vagina looked like, and you had to guess her muff. Is she a big, hairy, crazy time? And it was great. People love randos, and this is randos they came from this big case. I think that's
muff.com.
I don't think it still exists. I'm pretty sure there was a lot of unconsensual pictures on there.
Yeah, and how many people guessed yours correctly?
Listen, I was never on guesshermuff.com.
No, I did not know about that.
It was great. I had so much fun. Oh my God, I used to play with you. Let me tell you, a lot of
Were you good
surprises.
at guessing?
No. Oh my God. You would think that you would be. And you're like, that girl for sure. Fully shaved, gorgeous, wonderful landing strip for sure. This one. It was amazing. That was a great game. I would implore you the next time that you're watching porn. I mean, I guess in porn pretty much everybody's fully shaven, but like at some point go find something weird to look at with the nudity and just look at their face first, see how they're dressed, and then try to guess. It's
I'll draw it.
Yeah.
I foresee the Shuli Network turning this into the next Is It Gay? That's going to bring back Guess That Muff.
Yeah, that's for sure going to be okay with YouTube. They'll love that. All right, I'm going to play this again. I'm going to stop talking.
We only have like
Guess Your Muff.
we got like I think like a minute and a half left on this video.
Okay, yay.
Bob's other children, including his half-brother Robert, denounced this as nothing more than a soulless money grab, which further tarnished their long-dead father's now utterly destroyed public image. Scotty defended his actions, stating that he released the photos and videos to refute some of the rumors about his father's sex life that had gained traction in the media. A few years later, the website was structured into a more traditional memorial for his father, but is now no longer up.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
He spells R.I.P. out with pictures of naked women his dad's fucking.
No more naked randos. Now, R.I.P. Bob Crane.
That's amazing, and I love it. I'm glad that he probably went to like a lot of therapy to get there, right? Like that's the progression. Is he was like very severely traumatized. He was like, I'm putting these porn pictures out there, and then a therapist was like, dude, are you okay? Like,
I imagine it was just pressure from what the hell are you doing? How bad do you need money? You're going to sell dad's pictures, and probably got guilted into it. But yes, there is an update about the DNA stuff.
Operational. In 2002, a film called Autofocus was released starring Greg Kinnear as Crane and William Dafoe as Carpenter. The film heavily implied that Carpenter was responsible for Bob's death, but stopped short of outright making the accusation. The film was received well by critics, but panned by Crane's children for what they described as sensationalism. A last-ditch effort was made to uncover the truth about Mr. Crane's death in 2015. Using modern forensic technology, Scottsdale police tested the last of the blood samples from Mr. Carpenter's rental car. In a stunning result, the test found that the blood from the car did not match Bob Crane. Instead, it was found out that the sample contained DNA from two contributors, one profile for an unknown male, and the other two degraded for police to make a determination. With the last bit of forensic evidence now gone, it seems very unlikely this case will ever be solved.
So, to recap that, yes, in 2015, the blood was still kept around. They still had samples of it, and it was submitted for DNA testing. And what came back was inconclusive. So,
My favorite part of that was that the movie was praised by critics, but panned by Debbie Crane, daughter of Bob Crane, that didn't like the portrayal of her dad as a depraved pervert in the movie. No shit.
I love
What
that
did
they
she
call
think
it
about her brother's
sensational.
website?
Yeah, sensation. It was too sensational. It's
Yeah.
like, all right, how would you describe it?
Everyone loved it except the person that was hurt the most by it. Yeah, I would guess that.
Dad loved puss. That should be
What
the
the
name
movie
of
should
it.
have been called, actually. Yeah.
Yes. But there you have it, folks. What's so crazy about this story, in my opinion, and yeah, I think John Carpenter probably killed Bob Crane. I believe there's plenty of evidence. They just couldn't make a definitive, or they couldn't get a definitive guilty verdict, much like OJ. But there's just so much circumstantial evidence to suggest that he was the guy. There's a lot to it, and it looks like he even tried to cover something up. And also, under what circumstances would a regular person have brain tissue in their car? And I don't know. It seems logical that it was him.
So,
But go ahead.
is John Carpenter still alive today?
Nope. John Carpenter died actually in 1998, and maintained his innocence. But supposedly, there's actually a very long documentary on Bob Crane that, if anybody is interested, I'm happy to send it. It goes into some serious detail about all the stuff John Carpenter did that made him look insanely guilty. And supposedly when he got the call from the police, he apparently said out loud, "Ah, shit, they got me finally."
There's a little known fact that he
yeah.
died under an avalanche of pornographic photo albums.
Yes.
He opened his closet door and they all just fell on him, and he suffocated in like a hoarder's death. So,
And he had a wife through this whole thing, married 46 years or 42 years, I think, to the same woman. And apparently she knew a lot about it and was just like, yeah, he could have been a weirdo. He could be a weirdo occasionally, but he's my man.
Yeah.
And but yes,
Gotta love him.
I was happy when he would spend less time at the house.
and yeah, but the addiction part of it is what fascinates me. That this guy was just on this very strange level where, exactly like Andy said, pussy's great by itself. It doesn't really need a hat on a hat. It's okay. But this guy just could not be satisfied with the normal sexual relationship. He had to kick it up a notch and actually started integrating technology and electronics as part of his fascination in order to satisfy his narcissism and his obsession, and a way to actually get more out of a sexual experience and then to relive it through video and photography. And if you saw there in his Arizona temporary apartment, he had created a darkroom out of his bathroom. So he literally had prioritized, and you saw the darkroom equipment on the toilet. He had prioritized this aspect of his life over using the bathroom. Like, he would literally have to move the equipment out of the bathroom to use it, because it was just such a huge fixture in
Well,
his
he was
bathroom.
probably just pissing in the sink, right? It's fine. He's fine.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
That's
And
true. I didn't even think about that.
People that collect records want to work at a record store. Of course, he's gonna, like, if he wants to make home videos of
He
himself, he's
collects
gonna.
pussy? Is that
No,
He kind of did.
bought video equipment. Oh yeah, but it was more about the videotaping stuff.
Yeah,
he makes friends with this guy because he wants access to the equipment, and then you got to put up with the guy who's apparently a creep.
It's crazy.
or really cool? We don't actually know.
We don't, because I mean, who's to say that it wasn't just he hooked up with some random person. Just because this John Carpenter guy's the most obvious answer doesn't mean that it wasn't the husband of some woman that he took home or something like that.
Or it was
Just
like
as
an
likely.
Eileen Wuornos situation.
Ah, there
and
you
it was
go.
just some chick that he banged that was like, fuck you, dude. I don't like how you just treated me. I discovered that you're photographing me. I'm going to get you. With
So it
this
was you.
camera.
We caught
call-
you.
Yeah.
Arrest
Yeah.
her.
A woman, yeah, or it's funny now that you're saying it. I'd never really thought about it. Like maybe it was because apparently he loved prostitutes, and maybe a prostitute was like, you're filming me. I don't like it. I'm going to call my pimp, and maybe it's something to that effect. Maybe I don't know. We can
Yes.
speculate all day.
Don't
But-
just settle on the John Carpenter thing, Luigi, because it's easy. That's a quad father mentality that I won't endorse.
Well, there is a lot more evidence. You remember the thing we mentioned earlier about not drinking? Supposedly there was a bottle of of whiskey next to his bed, and supposedly, as we said, Bob didn't drink, but John did, and he loved whiskey.
I
So-
too love whiskey.
Yeah,
Does
a lot
that
of
make me
people
more
like
suspicious?
whiskey, Luigi.
I'm curious. You know what's oddly weird about this is we don't know. Is it maybe they had a sexual encounter? Maybe John and Bob had a sexual encounter, and something about it made John angry. We don't
That
know.
went awry.
Maybe they were cheating. Bob was cheating on John, and John didn't like that.
In my brief amount of time doing criminal work, one case that I didn't have anything to do with it, but I had to I had to talk to the court clerk in the midst of a trial, and I just couldn't get enough of hearing what was going on. There was an assault case between a husband and a wife, and now of course your mind automatically thinks, "Oh, that's not good. The husband must have hit her." Nope. What happened was during a sexual encounter, something happened in which the wife got really angry and took a dildo and beat her husband over the head with it.
I like
And-
her.
And I was laughing my ass off. I didn't get all the details, but I can't help but think that maybe something like that happened here. They had this weird
What's-
sexual encounter, something weird happened, and John Carpenter lost his mind.
I understand that you just said that you didn't get all the details to this, but I need to ask, do we know how big the dildo was?
No.
That's
But, but
damn it.
but-
all.
but I
it would
will
be
tell
pretty
you,
embarrassing if it was really small, right?
I don't know, but I will tell you it had to be entered in as evidence. And it was in a bag.
Cool.
And like I remember asking, I was like, "Can I see it?" And
What
the clerk
do you
was
think
like,
happened to it
I
after
don't know.
the case was over? Like usually evidence gets returned to its owner when the case is over. Do you think somebody was like, "Thank you"?
Yeah, they had to come pick it up. Lucy's signing up for jury duty as we speak.
You actually have to sign. You have to sign a form that lists it out. So for the actual chain of custody, it probably said. Apparently, what I heard was that it was large and yellow. That's all I know. So it probably says large yellow
Yeah. It had-
dildo
it
or
was a-
marital aid,
It
whatever
was
they
a
call it.
giraffe neck.
Yellow.
That's all I heard. I can't connect any of the dots beyond that.
Okay. I have a visual image in my head. All right, we have a few more super chats. But before we do a wrap up, do we want to all remind everybody where they can find us, and then we can close out the episode and read some super chats?
Let's do it. You guys go first.
Andy?
Oh, whatever. I do a show called All Apologies where I'll be featuring this episode next week. So, I mean, if if you hate me, you're welcome that I wasn't on a lot. And if you like me, I'm sorry I wasn't on a lot.
Who hates Andy? Come on. Nobody hates Andy.
I love Andy. Andy's the best. Go check out All Apologies podcast on YouTube. Allapologiespodcast.com, Andy.
Yep.
Yep. You can find me on Once Over with Kaylee, Cayley, on YouTube and on Patreon. And also tonight, I really just want to support Carl and Shuli with FightTheDabbler.com. Dr. Steve has set up a wonderful GoFundMe for their legal fund. So I would love to direct everybody over there if you want to support the fight against evil, aka Stuttering John.
some hilarious news on Point Dabble Point about the Belmont Tavern
Oh
today.
my god.
Folks, if you haven't watched it, it is fucking funny.
I couldn't believe it. And Luigi, where can people find you?
Luigi Greenberg on YouTube and at Papa_Electrico on X. I do a show on Fridays called Skeptical Robot. This Friday, we are going to be talking about one of the most unbelievable stories of the Sun Gym Gang. If you don't know the story, it is all about really, really stupid people who thought they were geniuses and they thought they could get away with a bunch of crimes, and they were too stupid to get away with anything. It's hilarious, folks. It's really good. Also, normally on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I do do shows on Hack Ride Studios channel, but it's going to be a little bit different this week. It's going to be Wednesday and Thursday. We do unboxing Riley Martin and unboxing Bigfoot It Is. We're going to be doing Bigfoot this week and unboxing Eric the Actor on Thursday. Also, please check out Hack Ride Studios. My co-hosts, Casey Day, at Hack Ride Studios on YouTube and X, and DJ Electrify, and my co-host for Skeptical Robot, Corndiff, and Gummy Chainsaw.
Yay. And we need to figure out what we are going to be doing for our next episode of The Edge Files. Again, before we announce that, I think we'll hit some of these super chats, and then I get to host during our next episode. So I'm very excited to tell everybody what we will be talking about on the next episode of The Edge Files.
Tex Hula, member for 1 month. Thank you, Tex Hula. Mall of America, thank you for the $1.99. Werner Klemperer, Colonel Klink, warned Crane about it. What is the it?
Is it the death of? Is it that?
It's going blind
Carpenter
from
was-
going blind from jerking off too much.
Put in a thick German accent.
Harry
go blind.
Palms. Harry Palms.
Too much pussy. Rebel Trenchcoat, a Columbo podcast. Thank you for the $5. Bob was on Hogan's Heroes, but apparently the investigating office was Deputy Fife.
Officer.
Yes.
Officer. Investigating officer was yes. Pegleg, thank you for the $1.99. Haley and Kaylee with guest host Luigi. Make it so.
I hope that it's okay that I'm saying this, but I do believe that there will be a Haley and Kaylee show coming up pretty darn soon. I think I am going to be joining Pretty Antisocial for at least an episode coming up with all of the exciting Steel Toe stuff. So
I cannot wait for that. That sounds fantastic.
You know, that's an area of the law that I know so much less about. So I've been just reading. I haven't stopped reading legal crap for like the last, I don't know, what, month and a half. It's just, there's a lot to learn. There's so
You should
much.
see if you could
There's so
get her on this show. Does her internet work?
Probably not.
Can I make a suggestion for a title for a show with Lucy and Haley?
Yes.
Tight Box and Bright Box.
Which one am I?
I
like
think,
it.
I think that could actually work.
I like it.
All right. Joseph Collins, $4.99. I'm convinced. Where was Kaylee on the night in 1978? Beating a
wasn't
man to
even-
death with a tripod.
Yeah, I wasn't even a twinkle in Bob Crane's eyes at that point. Also, Joseph Collins, I feel like you and I were supposed to meet in Detroit, and you were supposed to, or in some live event, and you were going to wear a shirt of a band, and I already forgot all of that information. I did a great job with that. I'm going to move on. Never mind.
You met
Jay
him
Wolf-
twice. I'm just kidding.
Jay Wolfenstein, thank you for the $2. When did Luigi become a ventriloquist? My fucking mouth is not working. I'm sorry. I don't know how to fix it.
It's the worst thing that's happened this whole episode.
On our
How dare you.
episode all about technology is failing everyone. I'm
Everyone.
doing great over here. I think. I don't know. You guys are going to tell me that I'm not, but yeah, we have focused. Luigi, you did a great job presenting this crazy obsession with technology It's terrifying. I don't like the how involved his kids were. I think that's the worst.
It was
part for me.
odd. It was odd, and like I can't help but wonder because what was really crazy, and I feel like I've used up enough time, but one of the craziest parts about Bob Crane's fetish was that it continued to evolve. Nothing was ever good enough, and it just continued to evolve, and nothing satisfied him. And I have to like kind of speculate and wonder, where would it have gone? Like, what would have been the next step in the evolution? We don't know. And to some extent, like, I think that it was overtaking his life so much that he probably would have ended up in poverty and jobless and unemployable, and it's crazy. It is a
Big
really
yellow
nutty
dildo.
thing.
We don't know.
Robots jacking them
Fucking a
off.
VCR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we got one more of these, and then I am very excited to announce what we will be doing on our next episode.
Big Daddy Dodo. Thank you for the $1.99 and the new profile pic of Scott Crane.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Luigi, does your mic still stink? It took me a second. I'm sorry. No, it does not. I farted into my mic on Friday. That's what he's talking about. And it stunk really bad.
Nice. I love it. All right, one more.
Awesome Baby Burton, formerly Carl. Carl, don't you piss me off now. What about the case of the one-armed man? What?
The fugitive.
Stump
Yay.
humping again?
Yeah.
God.
Call
It's been a
back.
busy week. I can't help it. Jeez.
Case of the one. Is it? Oh, it's the fugitive, right?
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right,
Carl,
so
you're blocked.
I will be hosting our next episode of the Edge Files, and I am very excited to announce that we will be talking all about one of the craziest art heists of all time, which happened at the Isabella Gardner Museum in Boston. And I think it's a really, really interesting case. I actually have a very special surprise with it also. We're going to talk about some other art heists with some weird stuff in them, and it's going to be great. We have not set a date for that yet, so we will be keeping you posted on all of our social medias for that as soon as it gets announced. But we are going to be having a ton of fun with art heists after talking about all this sex, right? That's what you do after sex, is you talk about art. I don't know.
Art.
No, you
Yeehaw.
you convince women that you're into art to have sex. That's how you
Right,
fuck,
right.
hipsters. So
That's true.
Okay.
we did
Yes.
these backwards.
Yeah.
And,
Oopsies.
yeah. And folks, if you don't know about this particular story, this is a really interesting story, the Gardner Museum heist. It's really fascinating.
Yes. All right. So we will announce the dates for that on all of our social medias. Do not forget to subscribe to everybody's channels, Skeptical Robot, All Apologies Podcast, and Once Over with Kaylee. And we will see you guys all soon. Bye.
Bye.